Hey guys, what's up? In this video, I'm going to be describing my experiences with the Burning Crusade. I'm going to be making this kind of a series where uh, I attempt to show you guys how a casual person approaches World of Warcraft and how the games work for me in terms of, a few things like, how the game itself plays, how it feels, what the expansions do, for me as a player, and my enjoyment of them. I do have a few problems with the first expansion, the Burning Crusade. I would be playing through Classic, but it's a bit harder to enjoy Classic content right now, and Chromie's time makes it very easy to at least experience these expansions not how they were meant to be enjoyed, but it's a way that I can play them and not have it kind of come against me. Now, I would like to mention this video is a bit scuffed because I did end up losing quite a bit of recording due to OBS recording the videos in a format that I can't really change to or out of without taking 12 hours to change the video to a different file format. So, whoopsies. I'll make sure that the next videos have better representations of what I'm saying, but let's start in with what I did not enjoy about Burning Crusade. So, Burning Crusade actually did quite a few good things, but a fairly big problem going into it was just the raw travel time. Coming in at level 10, you actually end up getting this, 60% movement speed bonus whenever you're mounted, which isn't a lot. And it honestly felt like it was taking forever to just fucking move anywhere. It was honestly kind of like pulling teeth until right around level 30. So for about 20 levels, which is the majority of what I was playing, that I'm pretty sure those first 20 levels took about twice as long as from 30 to 48. I might be wrong in those numbers, but the travel time alone, in between areas, in between quest zones, in between enemies, just felt like it was so long in that first area, which would be the Hellfire Peninsula. After the Hellfire Peninsula, it actually felt like it was paced very well. The Hellfire Peninsula, the intro area, was kind of the only area I encountered this problem, but it was drastic enough for me to feel the need to say it out loud in this video. Another problem that I had with it, and certain quests require items dropped by enemies, and the drop rates just aren't fucking there. For what is essentially a much shorter experience than what you normally have in the base game. So essentially what Chromie's Time does is it allows you to go through and experience an expansion 100% of the way through, just getting to level 50. So essentially the expansion ends up becoming more so right now the expansions are set up in a way in the base game to get you to level 50 when you do all of them. Unless you do Chromie's Time, which sets you to get through an expansion in one shot from, level 10 to level 50. So, for that experience, you end up spending a lot more time just mindlessly grinding enemies away, because of the lower drop rates that haven't been adjusted for Chromie's Time. Again, I understand why the low drop rates were there when Burning Crusade came out. I'm just saying that right now it feels a little bit dated, and you end up spending way too much time in one spot just mindlessly waiting for enemies to respawn because you've already killed them all, and you're just waiting for those feathers to drop from certain enemies, or you're just waiting on oh, I need some special teeth from this type of dinosaur, or something like that, and it just kind of gets really, really boring after a long time. Now again, I should restate, the second you get flying, the expansion really opens up travel time gets cut drastically, and you no longer have to worry about kind of walking through these areas, waiting for very, very, like just trying to avoid enemies so you don't get slowed down or dazed or whatever. Flying really, really helps out. So for the areas that I finished, in terms of the quest lines that the game says are important, I finished the Hellfire Peninsula, Zanger Marsh, and 7 out of 8 of the Nagrand quest lines, because I was not able to do Ring of Blood alone on my hunter, just because I kind of had this issue where the one boss in Nagrand's Ring of Blood questline was just unfucking beatable for me. I couldn't manage it. I got partway through Terracar Forest, but Terracar Forest wasn't super appealing to me. And I would have done a lot more in Shadow Moon Valley, except a lot of the quests are like, oh, you should have multiple people because the quest line itself is difficult, or, features an elite fight that's particularly difficult, something like that. And I don't have friends, so it's very hard for me to do these team-based quest lines, like the Ring of Blood, or like, what was it? The Eclipse something or other in Shadow Moon Valley. The name escapes me, but there was a certain quest line where you had to call down the Griffin who would give you more orders or something like that. And then I would have done Netherstorm, but I just kind of got bored. And I did about half of the stuff in Blade's Edge. I know that was a little bit unorganized in how I described the areas, but I was mostly just naming them as they came to mind. So, in essence, I loved Zanger Marsh. I think Zanger Marsh is one of my favorite areas in any MMO experience ever. Zanger Marsh was such an interesting... That's where I really started to delve into the story of what was happening in the Outlands. That's where I was actually oh shit, I need to save the mushroom people because the swamp demons are eating, or stupid bullshit like that. It was very intriguing to me. I had a great time just going through there and seeing how I could help these people. It was one of the more interesting ways to see World of Warcraft. Now, I will say, the whole save the trees druid-esque dynamic can get a little bit tiresome. But overall, the questline's compelling enough that you don't really have to worry about that, and it was very, very interesting to just play through that, see it, feel it, etc. Now, for some of the positives, overall, the world design itself is fucking amazing. I'd like to mention, this expansion came out in 2007 and hasn't really been touched since. There haven't been any, major content changes or things like that, except for the, overall, oh, you don't always have to have a party because the elite fights and boss fights aren't as difficult, something like that. But again, the world design alone, when you go from Hellfire Peninsula, which is this Nevada, desert area, very orange, very red, you head into Zanger Marsh, and it's a bunch of light blues, greens, marshy-esque area. You go to Nagrand, it's light yellow, plains, bunch of nice, bright, but not disgustingly bright colors. Very much sets the dynamic for that area. You go to the Shadow Moon Valley, and it's a bunch of grays and greens, and it's very lava-y, fire, bad. And you go to the Blood Mountains, and it's just more kind of deserty. There's a bunch of spikes everywhere. It's very interesting and honestly compelling area design that I was not expecting from World of Warcraft, quite honestly, because a lot of the areas seemed kind of typecasted at that point when I was playing Classic. Very interesting, very intriguing. I honestly loved it. Let's see here. Oh, the enemy diversity is kind of nuts. There's so many different enemies in different areas, and you can go, if you keep running in one direction, you'll encounter so many different enemies, and they're all localized, and they have different types, and the sheer amount of creativity in making these enemies and making them compelling to look at And of course, like, the beast diversity, and there's different types of beasts in every single, place, where, like, in Hellfire Peninsula, you have a bunch of, like, orcs battling it out, and you have, like, generic wildlife like boars, but then you go to Zanger Marsh, and it's like, oh shit, we have a bunch of these, like, wasp creatures and bugs and like decaying swamp monsters because the hydras are taking the water, so you kind of like have to fight through and save the water things. And then you go to Nagrand, and it's a bunch of these wild roaming big animals. You go to Shadow Moon Valley, and there's like these like chimera beasts, and there's these like fellhounds, these demon puppies. And it's very, very interesting just to experience all of the different, just every single type of enemy has so many individuals in this expansion. It's honestly crazy to see, feel, and play. I definitely recommend for that alone. It definitely makes up for all of the negatives. It is such an interesting expansion. Not only that, but once the expansion started getting stale, because I was playing Hunter and Beast Mastery Hunter, it actually allowed me to pull very, very fucking stupidly and still kind of like get away with it. And that felt really, really fun for me, kind of like limit testing my character in a way. It was really, really fun and interesting to me. Now, I do have a few, like, gripes that I wouldn't really put under negatives. They're just, like, small things that I'm like, man, this really kind of, like, irked me when I was doing it. The enemies don't spawn consistently, or, like, boss spawn timers, or, like, they're on weirdly long timers for how quickly you're meant to be through these areas in Chromie's time, and I wish they would have gone back and touched up the spawn timers just a little bit, because some of these things take fucking 10 minutes to spawn. It's kind of insane. Another weird gripe is that quest items, like items you use for questing, have these weirdly long cooldowns that I'm not really sure why they have these cooldowns, but it's not like, it's like 30 seconds, right? So say you're on this one quest, and you have to, like, what was it? Purify the remains that had been paved into a street, and these remains are fucking everywhere on this, like, road, but the quest items cooldown is 30 seconds, so you have to wait in between each and every one. It's just like this weird gripe, right? It's definitely nitpicky, but it's just like, man, if this were like 10 seconds, this would be like, or just have like a world cooldown, it would have been like fucking dope. But instead I'm sitting here waiting for 15 seconds to reactivate my item. Another weird gripe, it felt like there were so many fucking escort quests. Like, why? I don't want to have to babysit this guy for fucking 5 minutes because his dumbass got himself captured. Now, I will make an exception. The Corky things, it's not really an escort, but saving Corky is definitely one of the most memorable things that I did in WoW. Overall, I'm not going to give this like a numerical rating, but I will say we're coming into the series strong, and I expect the series to keep going in kind of like a... It'll get better and better and better in terms of quality of life, so I can start focusing more and more and more on the actual content, instead of just like mindlessly like plugging away on a keyboard to try and get the most, numbers out. So we'll see where it goes. I'm definitely interested. I will say one thing. When I originally started the series, I planned on playing it until level 50. However, if I'm not enjoying the areas, or if I'm not enjoying the person I'm playing, I will only play to 48, as that is the introduction to Shadowlands, and that is when I believe the expansion should end. Unless, of course, I'm really, really enjoying myself, I'll give it more time, more effort, but currently, that's kind of where I'm at. So far, my introduction to Wrath of the Lich King has been lukewarm, at best. I'm not hopeful for Wrath of the Lich King. I'm already considering making the review on it because I don't want to play this. I'm playing Horde, I'm playing a Blood Elf Mage, and I'm just bored, man. I'm about, like, what, 2 hours in, and I'm indifferent at best. We'll see if my mind changes, but I'm probably just going to end up either switching classes or switching sides, because right now I'm Horde, and it's just like, my god, man. My current gripe with Wrath of the Lich King is that there's just so many fucking enemies everywhere, and they're not diverse enough to, like, make me intrigued in them. Like, you can't walk. You can't just ride through an area. You'll get attacked from all sides. Anyways, that's enough about Wrath of the Lich King. This is about Burning Crusade. Overall, again, coming into the series strong, I expect a lot. This was a very good way to start off the expansions. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry about kind of like the bad quality of the clips, because it's kind of just like one long clip. But again, I lost the vast majority of my footage. I have 28 hours in Burning Crusade, and I only managed to, like, get 5 of those 28 hours. So I kind of just have my runs through Nagrand and a little bit through Shadowmoon Valley. So we'll definitely have more footage to be, and more diversity in the clips when we're going through, Wrath of the Lich King and on. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. I stream over on twitch.tv/DirthCobra. That'll be in the description. And yeah, I would love if you guys came out, supported the stream, supported me. Thank you very much, guys. Love you, love you. Have a good one.